So we have released Trials on Tatooine a few months ago, and that's just, we gave that away for free because really it's a short experience. It's an experiment on our part, and we worked on it for several months to kind of work out what it feels like to tell a first-person story in one of these virtual reality environments. Recently we announced that we are actually working on a much longer, more immersive experience that's actually going to feature Darth Vader in the world, which is going to be super fun. So yeah, we're working hard on longer, more immersive experiences that hopefully put people in the worlds where they want to go. That's exactly right. We are finding that there are some stories that are best told in this immersive environment. We're experts, or we certainly we work with a lot of experts, for at least in the film area, right? We know what kind of stories are well suited to be told on a screen in a rectangle in a movie theater. We're pretty good at that part of it. When it comes to the immersive experiences, what we're finding is there's certain components that maybe wouldn't have ended up in the movie, but are perfect for an immersive experience, and those are the kind of things we're pretty excited about exploring. And then, of course, from the technology perspective, we can leverage all the same assets. We can leverage many of the same artists. And we have a whole bunch of experts in all the real-time technology that needs to pull all this together. But we're making some pretty good progress along those lines. In a lot of ways, it's a lot like the early days of computer graphics. We know what we want to make the picture look like, but the computers are only so powerful, and they only have so much compute power to render in the time we have allotted. Now, when I was getting started myself in computer graphics, that render time might have been overnight. But now we have 11 milliseconds, 1/90th of a second to get that next frame up to the frame buffer in stereo at higher resolution than when each eye is higher resolution than when I started in computer graphics and we were even trying to render overnight. So we're up against the resource constraints of what the computer has the power to generate, again, like we were 20 years ago. So in some ways it's pretty exciting because it feels like fresh new territory because we have to solve all these problems again. How do we get beautiful looking shadows? How do we get really detailed looking textures? How do we get the number of polygons on screen that we need to get in order to sell this illusion that what you're looking at is plausible, is realistic enough to fool the eye into buying that you're actually in this environment? So we're spending a lot of time in that area right now, looking at what kind of shortcuts make sense that are different than the ones we've been using for the last 20 years. We will use as much processing power as we can be supplied with, and we'll eat it all up and put it all on the screen. So every time the GPU doubles in speed again, or the CPU gets 50% faster, that's going to end up in higher fidelity images on the screen. What's interesting is even though those images that you're seeing in a virtual reality headset today are pretty high resolution, there's a lot of pixels in them, more than you would have seen on a monitor up to very recently. It's still not quite high enough resolution to match your eye, to match what your eye sees in real life. So, for the ultimate system, we kind of want 5 times resolution in each eye, and we want at least the 90 frames per second. 120 is even better. And then we want all that, and we want the level of fidelity imagery that we render in today's 10 hours a frame. And not all that's going to happen overnight. That's going to take a period of years to get to the kind of fidelity we're really looking for. But in the meantime, we can fool people with the tricks that are, some of which are tried and true tricks that have worked for many years, and some of which are being invented right now. Yeah, so the tools for the artists do need special care in order to deliver for this kind of deliverable. A lot of our work is in taking the tools that we already use a lot, the things we already use in ILM every day, and making sure that those can translate into virtual reality as seamlessly as possible. We're making some progress in that area. But we do leverage off like the best in the business, the best of breed, third-party tools as well. So of course, when something like Unreal is available for us to use, we use it because it's a great tool and it gives us a huge jumping-off point. And we work closely with Epic to, for some of the kind of features that we need, and some of the stuff that they've actually been showing recently is partially as a result of us working closely together to work on the kind of projects that we're really excited about. I actually think this is a great time for that little studio with a bunch of great creatives and engineers working together on a piece, because there's a bit of a sense that everybody's starting over in learning what is going to make great virtual reality. And I think the best ideas could come out of academia, they could come out of some kid in college who comes up with something new, or they could come out of ILMX Lab. But it could be anywhere on that spectrum, because there is so much invention, there is so much creativity going on right now. The best ideas are going to come from everywhere. In terms of monetizing it, it is yet to be seen how big this audience is going to be, right? There are now hundreds of thousands of headsets out there, which is hundreds of thousands more than there were a couple years ago. So we're on a good trajectory. Sony's releasing their headset this Christmas, and they're probably going to sell a lot of them too. They're projecting pretty big numbers, I guess. So we're going to have an audience, and I think that audience is going to be really interested in high quality content. And as long as we as creatives provide high quality experiences for people, experiences that make people want to spend some time in here, I think we're going to see an industry that's actually going to grow to be self-sustaining in the relatively near future. And we may have some setbacks along the way. In fact, we probably will, but it looks like it's on a pretty good trajectory.